out here?
Well, howdy, and welcome to the almost front porch. I'm sitting here next to the front porch because the light sucks out there, and I don't know why. And my boy is here, and my wife and the girls are at a show, and I am in my best Ignatius J. Riley attire. Yeah, that's the boy. And yeah, if you've never read Confederacy of Dunces, you should. John Kennedy Toole killed himself before that book was published, but thank God for Walker Percy, the editor who read the manuscript that John Kennedy Toole's mother brought to his attention after many attempts to get someone to read it. It's really, really, truly one of the best one-hit wonder books I've ever read. Son, you just destroyed something expensive. And I don't care. Keep destroying it. It's not that important. That brings me to sounds. And the sounds of this life. This week was a week for what could have been me falling into a pit of despair and despondency and thinking the least of mankind. This week I wouldn't say I was banned on Facebook, but I posted in a private group. It's a Stuart Varney, who is a British gentleman who is a Fox News reporter, a Stuart Varney group that my dear friend Michelle started some years ago. It's a very large group that had almost no activity in the last few months because Facebook is out to silence conservative voices. This isn't exactly new information. So is Twitter and most of the mass media, which is run by the left. This is also not new information. This is not paranoia. This is a fact. But there are a lot of people who think like me out there, and most of us are too busy earning a living to get too twisted up and worried about the stupidity of people who think that everything should be free. So when my post, which was all I was doing was linking a story which had already been published on the web and asking the question, is this right or wrong to publish the name of a whistleblower? Something I'd heard on John and Ken on Monday, I posted on Thursday. It was removed later that day, and Michelle and I had a few moments of conversation about that on the internet. And now the club is back to posting 10, 12, 15 times a day. So it's a good thing, you know. I think the proverbial sleeping giant has been awoken. But really, it's just people who are of our stripe who would like to talk about issues that matter to them, just as there are people who are of the left stripe or the moderate stripe or the this stripe or the that stripe who want to meet in commonality and discuss things. So today, I was going to rant in my ranty way about, in Ignatius J. Riley's parlance, I was going to get out my big chief tablet and bitch about how my voice is being, quashed. But that's just not true. See, it's not really a matter of the same kind of free speech as I have right now. I'm putting this on my phone. I'm going to upload it to YouTube. I'm then going to upload it in a way that it can be shared on my Facebook, and they can either get rid of it or not. I mean, whatever. I teach 100 kids a year in the classroom. And I have more influence as a teacher than Facebook does. Because although Facebook reaches a lot more people than I do, I reach people one-to-one. And Facebook and social media, no matter what they say, doesn't do that. Right, buddy? Like I'm reaching my son and my daughters, my wife and my friends. Sometimes not always as well as I ought to. But I still reach them. And that's one thing that, until they find a way to take that away from us, they can't alter it. They can't stop it. So yeah, they took down a post. Big deal, They don't hurt me, really. They don't hurt Michelle. Michelle's smarter than they are. And so am I. And I thought, so much of the internet is about looks of things. Like right now, I got a face for radio. I say that all the time. I am not the world's most photogenic sort. 50 more pounds, I might actually start to look good. But in the meantime, I have the love of sound. And there's so many. And I was trying to make a list of what are my 10 favorite sounds. And the word that came to me, I usually, I try to attach a word to this, and I have big word whenever is my other one. I'm just making sure that I get this right. I know what it means, but the word that I like to use with my students is sonorous. And as I go ahead and get real here, and as I say, deep and full and sonorous, that's me. I'm the sonorous type. I don't really have a baritone. I think I'm stuck in the world of a tenor voice. I always wanted to be a baritone. They always seem to get more girls. Of course, I got the girl that I wanted, so it's all okay. But that beautiful, deep, powerful baritone bass sound that some people's voices have, the sonorous quality, or as it says when you click the button on
sonorous.
Sonorous, so sonorous, tomato, whatever.
Sonorous.
What's that?
Sonorous.
He says sonorous. I say sonorous. Let's call the whole thing the hell off. But sonorous, there's so many beautiful sounds. So many songs that I love. So many sounds of this, that, or the other thing. Things which have an olfactory quality, the way they smell, or a visual acuity or beauty to it, that still, it's when we hear them looking that way or hear them smelling that way that we really, So I thought of what are the 10 most sonorous and pleasing things in my world. And so in no particular order, I came up with this list of 10. And I would challenge you to do the same thing. What are your 10 favorite sounds? Again, my boy is about to choke on a piece of paper that he's trying to eat. Son, you're going to spoil dinner if you eat that. The first one throws me back to the recently ended baseball season and the fact that it's going to be 32 years before my team wins one, if they manage to win it next year, which they won't. But it's been 31 years since the Dodgers won a World Series, and the sound of Kirk Gibson's bat making contact with that low inside slider, that backdoor slider, that is one of my 10 favorite sounds because I can watch that and hear that crack of that bat. Just beautiful. The opening chords of Samuel Barber's Adagio for strings. Just such a beautiful start. So many pieces of music I could mention. That one, when I hear those strings come in so low and so slow, it's just beyond beautiful. Good Lord. Oh, I see what that is. I'm stuck with this nonsense. By the way, this is a sound I can do without. Somebody got this for my son. Somebody who's not going to get a present from me ever again. It's a drum machine, and it really sucks. Goodbye to you, too. Anyway, sounds that come out of those. Casio keyboard demo song is not on my top 10. So anyway, yeah, the crack of the bat is one, and the sounds, the first chords of Adagio for strings by Samuel Barber. The sound of my wife or my kids laughing at me when I'm making a horse's ass of myself, either on purpose to get them to laugh or because I'm a horse's ass, and sometimes that works too. I don't care what I did to make them laugh, but I love when my wife and my children are laughing because of something I did. It means everything to me. For that matter, anybody I make laugh, and I've tried most of my life to make people laugh. So that would be one of them. I love the sound of silence in my home at the end of a long day when all the lights are out and everyone's asleep but me. And I usually stop in the hallway before I lay down. I get myself into a situation where I can only hear my own heartbeat. And I try to slow my breathing down and just hear the day come to a close. That's one of my favorite sounds. Son, I love you so much, buddy. But I swear to you, I'm going to set this thing on fire or napalm it or something. I love the sound of a 1600cc non-expansion 1600cc Volkswagen engine for a 67 bus combi Westphalia model. Very specific. When it turns over the first time after I took the whole thing out, redid everything on it, top to bottom, and the first time I ever cranked an engine over that I had done all the work myself. That was about 1987. It was fantastic. It might have been 88. Yeah, right around the same time as the Dodgers last won a World Series. But when that engine turned over, it was magnificent. The sound of my wife saying, of course, through her tears when I asked her to marry me in an apple orchard in Oak Glen, California. I got you, buddy. And yet another device that some jackass decided to get my kids that makes noise. And there's one more thing that makes noise, and I don't like those. And let's have it. Let's have it, buddy. Oh, this piece of crap right here. This. Nope. That one's going. Where's the other device? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, this one. This thing sucks. Yeah. Yeah, if you ever see this anywhere ever, do me a favor, shoot it. Okay, almost done. Because just what you wanted to see was me lean over and my gut stick over the edge of the camera. Yeah, you tell him, pal. But yeah, the sound of my wife saying, of course, when she was overcome with emotion when I asked her to marry me. A beer can hissing or popping, or the beer bottle when you open it. And like the way that a bottle cap hits the ground when you drop it, but you know the beer is ready for you. Or when you know the beer that has just gone, that's a great sound. I love that. The sound of bacon frying. Of all the things that cook, such a definitively wonderful sound with an olfactory synesthetic tie-in as bacon frying. Well, a lot of this, as you can tell, is the sound of my kids and my wife. But when I come through the door at the end of a long day, or just any day, and my kids are home, and one of them or all of them will go, "It's Daddy!" I love that sound. I love that sound a lot. And, well, right after that sound of the silent house, I'll go in. And very creepily and weirdly, of course, I will listen to my children breathe. And I will put my hand on their cheek, and I will hear their breath. And then I will lie down next to my wife, and I will hear her breathing. And between the silence of the house and the laughter I might have elicited from them earlier, I think that my favorite sound might be the sound of my wife and my children breathing in their sleep, as I know that we've gotten through another day, and we're still here. So they can shut me down on Facebook. They can shut me down in a lot of ways, but until the day comes where I'm not breathing anymore, porch or no porch, YouTube or no YouTube, there's some sounds that I will always cherish, and these are just 10 of them that I can think of today. And none of them involve these electronic, nonsensical bullshit things that people gave my kids just because they think they're being funny, and they think, I'll get back at you because that's what I'm going to do. Remember, I can set fire to this stuff any day, and the stuff you gave us a few years ago, I long since burned it, and I just haven't gotten around to flaming these things yet. But I will. And everything else crappy you give me, I'll set it on fire at some point. And the kids won't miss it because I'll be too busy making an ass of myself and making them laugh, which is really what they want anyway. From my porch to yours, hasta la bye-bye, and thank you for taking a little extra time to listen to my nonsense and hear me rant. Don't let them get you down, those bastards. They can take you offline, but they can't take your spirit. Bye-bye.